Today I'm back in a Fortnite video, and today's video I'm going to share with you guys the best settings and give you guys some really great tips that you guys can use to help you build much faster in this game. So if you guys are looking for some settings and some tips to help you build much quicker, definitely stay to the end of the video because this video will help you guys out a lot when it comes to building and editing a lot quicker. And real quick, before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. I give away 2,000 V-Bucks every single Friday. So if you guys would like to participate in the next giveaway and win some free V-Bucks, all you guys have to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you guys get notified. Just put down your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account down in the comment section below, and you guys will be automatically entered into the giveaway. And lastly, if you guys like this code, which is Young Humor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator in the item shop. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys much quicker here in the season. So first off, I just want to say that if you want to be able to build faster, the #1 way to do so is going to be by improving your editing speed. And the reason for this is, when it comes to building, it's not really too difficult to do. What happens most of the time is when other factor between you getting high ground or the other player when it comes to a build fight is who messes up their edits, because that is going to be the #1 way, and the fastest way to slow yourself down is going to be by choking your edits. So you have to make sure your editing's on point, and I want to give you a follow if you want to be able to edit very effectively. So as far as the settings that I have a 46% for my horizontal and vertical, and then my building and editing is a 2.0 and a 2.1. It's going to look a little bit different depending on what your horizontal and vertical speed, because if you're on like a 70%, 2.0 building is going to feel a lot faster on 70% than 46. But if you're in the ranges of anything from like 42 to, I would say, 52, anything in that range, I feel like a lot of people are, I would recommend anything from a 1.9 building and editing to a 2.2. Anything in that range is going to be a great sensitivity to use that is going to maximize building and editing capabilities without being too quickly, because you don't want to be too quick. And I'm going to give you guys a very clear example here in just a second. But you really need to be careful about not being on too high of a sensitivity, because I feel like being on too high of a sensitivity is worse than being on too little of one when it comes to editing, which I'm going to give you guys a very clear example. So when it comes to building, I feel like you can plant whatever building sensitivity that you like, just whatever feels comfortable, whenever feels really quick. Because when it comes to having a big building or very high building sensitivity, it's important, because if you're playing on controller and you want to get off your minis, you're going to have to box up, and the quicker you're able to box up, the faster you are able to get off your minis, medkit, bandages, or just whatever heals that you have. So playing on a higher building sensitivity is going to be really important, and the faster you are able to make boxes, the faster you are going to be able to get off your heals, which is going to save you time and time again in gunfights, especially against really sweaty players, when every second or every half second matters. So the really important thing that I want to talk about is when you're making those small analog stick adjustments, and that's when you're barely moving your analog stick over to the sides, which you can see here when I'm aiming, I'm barely moving my crosshair over from left to right. If you're on linear, it's going to be a lot more difficult to make this movement, but I do like linear a lot when it comes to editing. So the reason why I talked about small analog stick adjustments is when it comes to editing, if you're on too high of an editing sensitivity, what tends to happen to most people is that when they're editing, say if they just want to make a simple wall edit in front of them, they'll end up going around the far side of the squares, and at the same time, it's going to make you a lot less accurate when you are going for the shot immediately after. And what you want to do instead of making a big circle when you're editing, you want to keep your crosshair and your edits as tight as possible, because all you have to do is touch the tile in order for it to register for the edit. You don't have to touch the middle or the corners, so you always want to keep your crosshair as tight as you possibly can when you're editing, and this is going to make a huge difference on your ability to edit quickly and also effectively. You're going to notice that it's going to be even more apparent when you're going to edit floors and cones. So when I'm going for this double edit, when I keep my crosshair tight, as you can see, you can just immediately pick up on how quickly I'm able to edit that versus when I take the longer route, when I edit the entire square. So you don't want to edit the entire square, you only want to edit the portion that you need. That's going to make you a lot more effective as an editor. And if you're on a really high sensitivity, you're not going to be able to take advantage of this, because just you simply moving left to right, you get a big difference on your editing speed, because you're going to be able to edit much quicker. So as I mentioned before, the number one way that you're going to lose build fights is if you choke your edits, which you can see if you choke your edits, you're going to lose all your momentum, and the other player 10 out of 10 times is going to get high ground over you. So when it comes to improving your edits, the first thing, as I mentioned, you want to make sure you keep your crosshair as tight as you possibly can when you're editing. But my recommendations as far as improving your edits so you don't choke them and build fights against other players, and there's two ways of going about it. The first way is going to be by learning as many high ground retakes as you can. When it comes to games, you really only need to have like 2 or 3, but when you learn as many high ground retakes as you can in creative, you're going to be more well versed in builds, you're going to be well versed in edits, and you're just overall going to become a much better player, and you're going to feel more comfortable on all sides of your builds and edits, which is going to translate into you being a much better player and you not messing up your edits in game. So that's the first one, learning as many high ground retakes as you can just to improve your edits. And the second one I think is a really great way is to just work on double edits, which I'll show you guys in just a second, a couple of double edits. But first, when it comes to being able to edit more quickly and effectively, one thing that a lot of people don't do too much, and if you guys don't already know, when you're editing ramps, you can literally just go from the front and go off to the side. You don't have to go all the way front to back, which could be a lot slower than just going from the first initial point off to the right or left side, which can be much quicker when it comes to editing and could be a lot more effective. So that's something that a lot of people, maybe you guys may or may not know, so definitely do that if you haven't already. And as I mentioned before, the first way to improve your editing speed and your just consistency is going to be practicing as many high ground retakes as you can. But the second way is going to be practicing your double. Now, the reason why I think double edits are a great way to improve your editing speed is because a lot of times these are the edits that people mess up the most. And at the same time, they are a little bit more difficult than have double edits extremely consistently. Single edits are going to be no problem and something that you don't have to worry about at all. And the reason I don't say triple edits, because triple edits can be very difficult to do consistently. So I think double edits are a great place to start. And here are just some examples that I have of me just editing a ramp and a wall. But I would recommend you find the double edits that you need to work on the most, that you feel like you're not the best at, and then really try to work and improve on those. And that's really just a great overall tip on improving in the game, is just finding what areas you think you are the worst at and then just improving at those. As I said, just find the areas of the game you find you're the worst at, and then in sense your rotations, whatever that may be, just find what you were the worst at and then improve on specifically that for a couple of days. And you're going to notice big consistency improvements. You're going to be winning a lot more games and you're going to be a much better player. So those are going to be my tips for improving how fast you're able to build. As I said, you want to work on your editing speed, because I showed you guys a couple examples on improving your edits as far as high ground retakes you can learn, double edits, and also making sure you keep your crosshair tight when you're making edits on anything. You don't want to edit the entire square, you only want to edit those parts that you need to. So with that being said, that's wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys liked it, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Hit that notification bell, because I do stream every single day at the channel at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys have the notifications on, you guys will get notified for when I go live on this channel. But with that being said, I really appreciate you guys watching the video, and alright guys, I'll see you next time.